I will request each one of you to share your thoughts. And Aneesha, it would be lovely if you can, get started with on your thoughts on, how we can be engaging multiple stakeholders.
So thank you so much, Priyanka. Lovely to be on this panel with Ploggers, Nagaraj, and Deekshitha. So thank you so much, firstly, VolCon, for this opportunity. I think the topic that we have here today is extremely, extremely critical, especially we are at a very critical juncture when it comes to the CSR law. So I today would be mostly speaking about multi-stakeholder engagement from a corporate point of view. So before I start off, just wanted to give a little bit introduction about the work I do and what we at Embassy do. So I lead this corporate connect program within Embassy CSR. So I think most of you here are from Bangalore, and Embassy might be a familiar name to you. So we have 3 major tech parks in Bangalore: Embassy Manyata Business Park, EGL right here, and Embassy Tech Village in Sarjapur Road. So as a developer, we have leased out spaces to major GCCs in the world and a couple of Fortune 500 companies as well. So that gives us a leverage of having access to these corporates who are doing incredible work in the ecosystem, which we all will agree. So what we thought when we were strategizing our CSR, why do we do it in silos? So when it comes to CSR, when it comes to volunteering, why can't we do it collaboratively? So that's where the Corporate Connect program came up with. So I lead that program where we drive volunteering initiatives, not just within our ambassadors or people within Embassy, how we call it, but also with other corporates in the ecosystem. So that's the Corporate Connect program. We are at the 8th year today, and very proud to say that we have had over 48 collaborative projects, including a couple of them were, of course, projects where we came together, pooled in resources and did a project together. But a majority of them were in the space of collaborative volunteering. So I'll be very happy to share insights from how the multi-stakeholder approach shapes up when we speak about corporates and we speak about the government, because we do a lot with the government. And coming to your question, Priyanka, like I said at the beginning, it's extremely critical that we speak about this. However, it's not a very glossy picture. I'm sure my fellow panelists will also agree. Although it looks like a very amazing thing to do, but there's a lot of work that goes into it. And I think that is also something which we'll speak about today. But yes, extremely critical, and thank you for bringing this up. Yeah.
Thank you, Aneesha. Thank you so much. Nagaraj or Ms. Plogman, I will request you to share your views on our topic today.
First of all, thank you so much, VolCon and Priyanka and Aneesha and Deekshitha. It's always a pleasure to be part of a wonderful community. Yeah, I think you already saw what blogging is all about. The journey predominantly revolves around volunteering activities, especially on roads, picking up someone else's trash, and obviously you need to engage with multiple stakeholders for anything that needs to be done in public places. And as Aneesha rightly says, there is so much that needs to be done on ground. More importantly, collaborating with corporates, collaborating with government agencies, apart from the passion that you all have. Right? For example, I was just checking this poster. It says A and D. So I would say, and it continues. That is Aneesha, Nagaraj, and Deekshitha continues with P. That is P is passion. Priyanka is passion. Yeah, that's what I think of. And yeah, so as Aneesha rightly says, it's very much important for each one of us to think twice before getting into any of the projects as such. One, at an individual level, understand what exactly are we doing about it. And two, what is the impact it's going to create, not just to us, but also the stakeholders. When you say stakeholders, who are the stakeholders for any voluntary activity? Obviously the public. If at all we are engaging with the corporate, and more importantly, the government. Anything that we do on ground or anywhere as such, there has to be a policy-driven approach. Otherwise, what happens is, you do it in silos and you hardly get recognized. More importantly, that doesn't sustain for long term. So yeah, it makes sense to have a collaboration. Probably we'll discuss over a period of time about that as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Plogman. I hope you don't mind if I call. So, Deekshitha, would love if you would like to add a little bit more about your journey so far with volunteering and your thoughts on multiple stakeholder engagement.
Thank you, Priyanka. And you have covered in crisp, but I'll elaborate on it. Thanks for adding on Aneesha and Ploggers. So my journey with volunteering started at very young age, as Priyanka said. I started in my school days, around two decades back. I had an opportunity with my teachers who pushed me to do more community work at that age, and I today thank them for that. Then in the schools, fortunately I grew up in a place where it is Kurg, which many of them know here. So it's a beautiful place, and there are tribal communities which is near to the towns where we live. That's where we had an opportunity to go and volunteer with tribal kids and start teaching them at that age. I was small, and then I was teaching smaller kids than my age. That's when it started, and then there was clothes drive, donation drives, and a lot of drives in the schools, which led me, which eventually somewhere inside me made me understand that it's a part of my life. So. During my college, that journey continued, and during my college days, again, was fortunate enough in being in different social clubs. One of them was Rotaract Club, and then ended up being engineer and started my journey with a tech firm, again, HCL Tech, I started my journey with. And when I was working, I came from a very small town. I had no idea on how, there is some opportunity in CSR or the big corporates where we work, there's something called as CSR. Or the volunteering, what I can do. All I learned was by myself. And then I realized that was part of coming to corporate, working in a big firm. I had an opportunity to understand about CSR, understand and volunteer in different NGOs in Bangalore. And that broadened my perspective, I guess. That's when I decided, I guess, that's where I have to be. And I took a break from being an engineer, and then I said, this is where I have to be. I have to move completely. And people at that age said, are you crazy? Just volunteering. Volunteering is a different aspect, and then moving full-time is a different aspect. But I knew I was taking the right risk at that age. And today, there's no regret or no looking back. I've been fortunate to, again, engage more than 30,000 volunteers, and I've worked with more than 30,000 volunteers. As I moved to NGO, which is gift-abled, had an opportunity to work with say setup, in a very rural setup in an aspirational districts, grassroots work, and learnt everything from the field, because I do not come with a MSW or a social work. So I learned everything from the field, and learned with volunteers how to engage volunteers in the perspective of work, what we are doing. Again, after a few years, now back with HCL Tech, that's my full time. I work with CSR firm, CSR of HCL Tech, HCL Foundation. During coming to We the Volunteers, I initiated, co-founded in 2021 along with Suren. And where I saw the gap is around engaging with senior citizens and engaging in animal shelters, right? How do we bring up that, bring volunteers to engage in a larger way to create a sensitive environment around volunteering for senior citizens and animal shelters. And we work with all the different communities, but majorly focus on these two. Our volunteers are from different backgrounds. This is not full-time, everyone volunteer during the weekends. Few are professionals, few are students, college students, senior citizens also come and volunteer. And coming to the stakeholders, what we engage in with the volunteers, again, there's no corporate as such for me or government as such for me. Only two stakeholders for me. One is volunteers inside volunteers itself, I'll be speaking about the challenges, how are we working with multi-stakeholders inside volunteers with different age groups. I consider different age groups itself as a stakeholder for me for this volunteering. And yeah, I'll be speaking more around the same. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Deekshitha. So we all already heard about their thoughts on multiple stakeholders engagement. So I think it will be really nice if you can, quickly, I think up to an extent, we also understand why it is important, but completely from a practical point of view, when you are working with them, how does it helps, or what are the advantages of, engaging multiple stakeholder? Or does it make sense? Because I can understand it could be very challenging, which we will be discussing later as well. But the advantages or how it helps.
So like you rightly said, and like I had mentioned before, it looks very rosy to have so many people involved in the room, and absolutely wonderful to have like someone at an X level, a CXO, and the office assistant in my office working together just to empower that one government school child. It's really amazing. But of course, we'll speak about the challenges later, but I'll speak a little bit about the benefits. So according to me, there are 7 major stakeholders when it comes to when we speak about multi-stakeholder engagement from a corporate point of view. The first are the employees, extremely critical. The second is, of course, the CXO level people, the leaders who lead the company. There's also a little bit of share when it comes to investors and shareholders. So I think I'll just touch upon this a little bit more. So in the 10 years that we have evolved as a law, CSR has evolved from cutting a check to becoming a very integral part when it comes to decision making. An investor today is very interested to know, what are your sustainability goals? What are you doing in ESG? What are you doing for the communities around where you're located? I'm just speaking out of my experience. So investors, then of course the NGO partner you work with. There are government entities involved, especially I can again say from where I come. We work a lot with the government. We work a lot with the Zilla Parishad. We work a lot with government school HM. So the government is a major stakeholder. Then of course is the community. And of course, last but not the least, very important, the beneficiaries. So 7 of them play a very important role when it comes to corporates and volunteering. So when you bring in a CXO and the lowest level, an office assistant, for the lack of a better word, on a field, what happens there is that you are breaking a lot of barriers. There's an entire corporate hierarchy which is broken. They are there to empower that one child. But we as a company, or I personally feel that we have gone one step further. Why don't we just not do this with our people? Why don't we invite probably a Cisco to come and join us, or probably an IBM to come and join us? So what we see is that we get together a huge pool of talent who joins us on the field. There are people who come from different skill set. There are people who come from they have different resources, and they also have a very different idea as to what change they want to make in the community. So that exposes us to a huge range of talent, not just for us who are standing outside and facilitating the whole thing, but also for the end beneficiary. So I'll just speak about a very small example here before I conclude. So we work in 24 government schools in Bangalore, and as a company, we had a policy that we will continue to support these schools through a particular NGO partner. We won't do a 3-year program and step out and all of that. We just wanted to be with those children. We wanted to see them grow and see the kind of impact that we create. When we started off in the year 2013, it was not a CSR head or an HR head who started off this program. It was our CEO, Mr. Jeetu Virwani, who took up the step that, yes, I want to empower X number of schools around our parks. He started this off, and today I can speak as we are having a volunteering initiative in Tanisandra, which is like behind Manyata. We have people right from our finance function, from our HR function, from our Marcom function, from our commercial leasing function, from our residential function, who just take out those 4 to 5 hours and go there and speak to the children. These are the opportunities available for you. They just be the kid within them comes out. That's my pitch to the volunteers. So you have to bring out the kid within you when you are with the kid. So what I'm trying to say here is that that's the first advantage when it comes to multiple corporates coming together, or even if it's a single corporate coming together. You really shatter those hierarchies. The second thing is, of course, volunteering is not free of cost anymore. All of you in this room have volunteered at one level or another. It involves substantial costs at one point, or sometimes it might be a very meager cost. So when we get multiple corporates to come and collaborate, when we get to collaborate with another NGO partner, we have two NGO partners coming together and collaborating, we ensure that the pool of resources which goes towards this particular activity expands. So according to me, it is the talent pool as well as the resource pool, and probably in a longer run, it makes the program more sustainable when I look at it. So yeah, I think it's an absolutely wonderful idea for a lot of people to come together, to collaborate. But like I said, I'll speak in a bit about the challenges. The list is far longer. So
Thank you, Aneesha. You rightly said, I totally agree with the fact that yes, when we are engaging multiple stakeholders, it actually increases our talent pool, resource pool, and obviously the impact which is gonna happen after this, stakeholders coming together and working on this initiative is also going to be a larger one. So yeah, definitely. Nagaraj, would love to hear your thoughts. And you have been engaging with various stakeholders, and you started individually all by yourself. So yeah, would love to know your thoughts on how you have been managing, or what are the advantages that you see in bringing these stakeholders together?
Just about 10 years back, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, I think 10 years back. When I was into barefoot running, I still continue to run though. But yeah, it was just out of my own passion or whatever you call it. By the way, I was working for a top beverage company. I was into marketing. So I worked for Coca-Cola, and I was into marketing. So I made sure that everywhere, wherever there is a grocery shop or a bakery or any condiment shop, my products are displayed. I put up my poster over there, ensure that the product generates some kind of impulse over there. So I was into marketing. But then if at all anybody has worked in a beverage company, it's more like a weekly targets for us. So you do your number on the week, you're only known by your last week's number, not even last year's, last month's, it's just a weekly targets. So we used to, almost every weekend was a party for us. Of course, you set it out in the day and then you get a party as well. And unfortunately, wherever I used to go, I used to find my own brand littered. Coke has Coke, Thumbs Up, Sprite, Limca, Fanta, Mazda, Minute Maid, into 200 ml, 300 ml, 400 ml, 600 ml, 2 liter. So you just think of number of SKUs. So all were littered. For a fraction of seconds, I say, "Arey yaar, what is that I am doing?" So out of instance, we just couple of us used to pick it up and just put it in the dustbin. That was happening. But then something was not well. Yes, of course, I was getting paid well. I was happy about my so-called personal ego. Yes, I was happy, but personally, it was not well. Within me, I was not feeling good. And then it was in the process of, I was thinking about getting married, and then I realized, okay, after I kind of get a stable income, if at all I spend my time, it will be for volunteering, come what may. For that, I need to have one personal commitment. So I said, okay, a kaam karenge. If at all I have a baby girl, I'll name her as Avni. Avni in Sanskrit means Mother Earth. If it is a baby boy, I'll name him as Ashvik. Ashvik is blessed. That was thought before they were born. The reason is, if at all they are born, like for example, I'll just give Avni. The day she is happy, the day she is smiling, I feel okay. Environment is safe, sab kuch acha chal raha hai. The day she is cranky, the day she cries, I get into a jog, pick up 30-40 kgs of trash and come back with my team. That's what I used to do. And that's the kind of commitment I had. Because otherwise you will not have that personal commitment. You're just doing it for some corporate, for some NGO, you'll not get that enjoyment. After a period of time, it becomes monotonous. I say, why should I do? Mujhe kyun karna hai? Nani enak madbeku. Whatever language you think of, you think, why should I do? That's not my job. First thing that comes into picture. Why should I pick up somebody else's trash? So, first thing is, you got to burn your ego. The beauty of blogging is, it not only burns your ego, it burns your calorie as well. So, it's like right mix of Swachh Bharat and Swasth Bharat. Burn your calories. I keep saying, I lost about say 7-8 kgs of weight, but I have lost a bit of hair as well. Yeah, that's the thing. But yeah, it was fun, and more importantly, I wanted to have that commitment. The day I see my baby, she's happy. Okay, yes, something is good in the environment. The day she's sad, probably I'll take her to a blog, and then both of us will blog. She has done 100 hours of blogging with me when she was 5 years old kid. Now she's 12 years kid now, and sometime back, yeah, when she was in LKG. There was a competition in the school, like every year, most of the schools have. They were supposed to dress up as this favorite personality. Mother Teresa, doctor, lawyer, professor, and all that stuff. I said, okay, let's do something else. I said her, you will have to act as a rag picker. I told her, you just wear a dirty dress and then act like a rag picker. The reason was they are the unsung heroes. Many times they don't, imagine just this room only, nobody cleans it up for 2-3 days, it will stink. One day a servant maid doesn't come, the house will start stinking. Your entire behavior for that day will change. You will be cranky, you will be shouting at somebody else. Even in your office, you'll be a little cranky. Many a times, I'm sure that's what you observed. Imagine your office is not getting clean for, say, 1 week. You will start yelling at everybody. That's a human psychology, right? So I said, okay, they are the unsung heroes. Let's probably try to inculcate that habit from childhood itself. So for a fraction of seconds, even I felt bad, why should she act as a rag picker? But then I wanted to convey the message, boss, this has to be really big. If the momentum has to be there across the schools and colleges and education, it has to be there. And then she actually acted it. And trust me, she won the best prize. And then the teachers came and said, in last 25 years of our school, nobody made their child act like a rag picker. That was like, I would say, a game changer because, for the children who were close to her, initially they were reluctant to forget about being close to her, they are not even coming close to her. I mean, it was an acting. She had to go to any outside, she just had, within the classroom, she just had to pick up some stationery waste, pencils and all. It was inside the school, obviously. Even for that, some children were reluctant to go close to her. That was that's probably a current scenario as well, many places. The moment you say Safai Kamchari or rag picker, you don't even feel like going close to them. Many of the hotels, they do not have access to the restrooms. That's a reality, let's accept that, right? So that kind of thought process I had to inculcate in my child right from the beginning stage. Otherwise, there's no point. That is at the individual level. Similarly, the moment they did that, the school also said, sir, going forward, we'll ensure all the children join for this kind of blogging activities. And we have done close to 35 blogs with those children. There are 6-7 years. That some acting for that 10 minutes, 10 years back, 7 years back, is still making wonders. The reason why I'm saying that is, if at all you're doing it, don't do it just for the sake of doing it. Ensure that there are multiple stakeholders being influenced, not just for that day, but from that day. I keep repeating, say, not just for that day, but from that day. Imagine, I'm just giving a classic example again. We get into a blog or a cleanup or whatever, any volunteering. You do that for today, you are happy about it, you put it into social media, your ego massage happens, you feel happy about it, that there are so many likes and shares, blah, blah, blah. But then if you're not continuing it, doesn't make any sense at all. Right? It need not be blogging. It can be any volunteering as such. Only when there is a passion followed by a commitment and a sustainable thought process behind it, it will not sustain. So for activity like blogging, wherein multiple stakeholders are involved, right from NGOs to corporates to government agencies, getting approvals, as she rightly said, multiple stakeholders involved, unless and until all of us have a common objective and that too a sustained effort, it will not sustain for a long time. So yeah, I agree with your thought process and probably we'll discuss the challenges in the next few minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Nagaraj. That was really nice. And I totally agree that it's so important that we keep inspiring people and different various stakeholders. We need to, as an individual, obviously we are doing whatever we can do, but we have to talk about these stories, inspire people, and get more and more stakeholders involved. That's only going to help, strengthen our cause.
This actually happened in 2020 or 2021 during COVID times. Most of these slums were obviously, there was shortage of food and everything. So many of the NGOs came forward, started distributing food and all that stuff. But if you observe, most of us know what COVID was. At that time, most of the educational system moved towards online, if you remember, and people had to mandatorily have smartphones. So obviously, I cannot afford to buy thousands of smartphones and give it to them. That's when we thought, oh, no, we'll just collect whoever has that second phone with them access, and then we got all those phones refurbished and distributed close to 140 plus cell phones in 2-3 slums and about 45 laptops. Not even single laptop was purchased. And then at the same time, I was also speaking to a couple of women over there in the slums, and that's when I thought we should, for example, we all have that, each, especially the children, have that passion for, hero, Spider-Man, He-Man, any other man? Spider-Man, He-Man, Iron Man, huh?
Superman.
Shaktiman, Superman. There are so many mans, yaar, itne log hai, why not a cup man? Who is a cup man? A cup man is a man who encourages sustainable menstruation. I actually got inspired from Padman, who did a revolution just about a few years back in Kerala, and it spread across India. That because of the fact that it was COVID, nobody was talking about sustainable nutrition. There are quite a many women who were obviously they cannot go out at this time during this COVID period. They had that problem, but nobody is speaking about it. So I had to break the taboo. I said, okay, let me take that initiative. Trust me, some of the auto walas literally threatened me, you better go out, otherwise you'll get kicked. Talking to women about sustainable menstruation is still a taboo even in cities. So imagine going to a slum. So those are the challenges. But the moment I say, boss, this is going to benefit you, your wife will be happy, your sister will be happy, your mother will be happy, and the government will appreciate you, they'll come you and give you some funding for ensuring that your place is clean. Sanitation things are taken care of. Over a period of time, the longer picture is something they understood. And then they are part of the family now. They say, oh, Cup Raja Banda. There is a saying in Kannada, Isala Cup Namde, if you all remember RCB. So I keep saying the Isala Cup Namde. That is on sustainable menstrual cups. Just one instance which I want to share, wherein the collaboration is very much important. Otherwise, you'll face a lot of challenges. The involvement of government, involvement of the public. More importantly, the person who is getting influence or who is getting benefited has to know what is that we are doing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's why it becomes all the more important to involve more and more stakeholders.
True. Thank you.
Deekshitha, would love to hear from you. Like you were talking about, like you have various stakeholders within your volunteer itself. So yeah, what are the advantages of having various stakeholders within your volunteers? I'm sure it must be tricky to manage also.
Yes, Priyanka. Thanks, Aneesha, for covering from corporate perspective and Ploggers from the NGO perspective and government perspective. I will more speak about volunteers inside, how do we have different age groups and how do we consider different age group as themselves stakeholders. We do have, as we the volunteers, we have kept the platform open for anyone to come and volunteer and give back during the weekends. So we have not restricted age. We do not have any restrictions over who has to come, how. Just simple as that. If I decide today to volunteer, tomorrow I should be able to volunteer. As simple as that, we have kept the platform. Today you register, tomorrow you come and volunteer. So there's no scrutiny of volunteering, much of it, which we are doing. So when we have this open platform, there are like students coming in and registering. There's college youths, young adults are coming and registering. There are homemakers who are coming and registering. And also we have seniors who are coming and registering. One particular thing which I can see is the benefit which I see is the different energy which these groups bring in. They all bring in different energies and different expertise from and different innovative ideas on volunteering which they bring in. So one story I would want to tell, and how did we plan to expand this to more cities, because how did we see what benefit these multi-stakeholders gave us is understanding and expanding it to different NGOs, our causes, and different cities, especially Chennai and Hyderabad. We went across last year, and to call out that one incident which happened in an old age home where we volunteering group of volunteers, these different age groups went, and they spent 1-2 hours interacting. We call it as diversional therapy for senior citizens, where they engage in different activities, volunteers engage in different activities, and have fun at the end of the day with senior citizens. And only thing we expect for all these age groups is the only primary criteria everyone should have is empathy. empathy is the primary criteria we ask with. There's no other prerequisite for our volunteering. So one incident is, which I want to share, a senior citizen after the event came in and they said, please call one of your core members, I want to talk to them. And when we went to them, he just said these words. He said, since I've come to this old age home, since the day I've come to this old age home, the only thing which I look forward is my death. I didn't want to live because there's no hope for me. There was no conversation which I had to have. There's nobody who was coming to me and talking. So I wished every day in my prayers that I wish my death early. But after you volunteers have come in and started engaging, I wish today I live more. I live more and more so that your volunteers, I feel the happiness you are bringing, and I feel that living more. So that is what all these volunteers bring in, right? It is. I would not agree with Aneesha being, it becoming a little bit of expensive or the cost involved, because we manage all our volunteering with zero cost. So all the volunteering for us is a zero cost. So all volunteers come. So the activities are also, many of it is DIY activities, which we try to do from the waste which we have it in our home. The cardboards, the donations which has been given by the youngsters who are, for the children who are, the activities are very simple, the age group which we are covering. Similar way, that's what I wanted to cover. And yeah, thank you, Priyanka.
Thank you, Deekshitha, for your lovely, views on engaging volunteers in multiple various age group and their thought process, ambitions, engaging them in this together. And lovely story about the old age home. That's how we change, we make the change. We as individual volunteers, when we start doing something with very basic, be it anything, like Nagaraj, who started picking up the litter, and each one of you, and I'm sure each one of us present here have been doing in some or other way, some knowingly, some unknowingly. But yeah, that's how we kind of bring change here. Since we do not have much time, I will quickly hop on to the challenges and how you are dealing with it. I know it's a larger topic and probably that's need more time, but we don't have much time, so I will request you all to keep it a little crisp. Some of the challenges that you are experiencing your own areas and how you are dealing with them, very quickly. Yeah.
Thanks, Priyanka. So, like I said, the list is a little bit longer, but I'll keep it crisp. So, I think the first challenge when it comes to involving multiple stakeholders in any volunteering event is that there's a huge risk of losing focus. If I have the government involved, if I have my CEO involved, if I have my HR head involved, and if there's an NGO who's doing incredible work, but probably too many cooks spoil the broth. So I think, I think that is one of the major challenges. There is always a risk of losing focus. There is a solution to it as well, which I'll come to. And the second is, I think people here who have worked in a CSR role or have interacted with CSR heads, I think they would understand it a little better. So I'm speaking from being from the CSR team. So I'll just say a tiny story here. So this has happened in the past when we as a company have had very rigorous focus on empowering government school children, doing preventive health care, and of course safe menstruation is also one of the areas. And I design a very elaborate program, and I want to really get like 50 people from my finance team to come. And they come up to me and say, yaar, ye nahi chalega, I want to do something for the street dogs. And then I say, that is not our focus. So what happens is that the balance of what the company wants and what the employee is passionate about gets screwed. So there's again a solution to it, to which I'll come. So these two, according to me, are the major challenges when it comes to involving multiple stakeholders. The solution to is, of course, for the first challenge is that uh, from the day one that an employee enters a company, from their day one at probably an embassy, since the lack of a better name here, so they should know what we as a company do. So we have incorporated this policy in collaboration with our HR people, that every employee who's inducted into the company has to mandatorily do 2 volunteering events within their first month. They need to understand what our company believes in when it comes to social impact, and their ethos has to align to it. So usse kya hota hai that firstly, of course, they will not come up with any passionate cause that they are passionate about. They will understand that yes, this is something we have been driving for the past 10 years. Probably we should pool in our resources into this, skills, time, knowledge, all of that. And secondly, the balance which I spoke about, that kind of gets a little balanced out, I feel, if that is ingrained within the employee from day one. Secondly, I think all 3 of us here spoke about, especially Nagaraj, that working with the government is a huge challenge. We need the government on board, but we do not need the government to be too close. So again, I think that again is a very big challenge that comes to it. You need their buy-in, especially when you're doing projects in collaboration with them. You cannot walk in and start painting the metro pillars, even though you want to clean up the space under those pillars and you want to paint them. You can't do it without BBMP permission. So I think cracking that code with the government is also something which we have been trying. I won't say we are still there, but working in tandem with them, understanding their priorities, and of course, working together at the end of the day. I think I'll just conclude by saying that at the end of the day, the challenges are many. But having been in this space or leading this program for a couple of years now, I do understand that when 2 brilliant minds come together, it's not just for one project or any business prospect, even for social impact, that has a huge value. So this is the way forward, and probably we will be there in a couple of years is what I'll feel. There won't be any challenges left, hopefully.
Nag.
Coming from volunteers' perspective, right, the stakeholders which we spoke about, students come from their own expectations, right? Students and college going youth come with, I need certificates as a token of appreciation for volunteering. As we are open and all are run by volunteers, we do not have any cost. I've told you there's no cost involved. So it becomes for us very difficult to go ahead and give them something around certificate printed. And also we make sure that there is no expectations set. So for bringing in, when I'm speaking about the say older generation who is coming, and then they come up with their set of mindset saying that I'm coming here to make friends, to have a social interaction. For them, these are the mindset challenges which we majorly look into when we are working with our volunteering group. That is one thing which, how we have tackled it, we make sure that all the volunteers have a weekly induction on Fridays, because Saturdays, Sundays are majorly our volunteering activities. Fridays we have a induction, and we set them up with the expectations and what are the do's and don'ts, and what are we expecting from them, and what can they expect from us. That is clearly called out during the weekend orientation call. Coming to other thing is the challenge which I see is, as I say, we are also working with multiple old age homes or the NGOs, right? Bringing them all together. Also, we have faced as one of the other challenges where there is one activity, one annual event which we conduct, which is called as Hiriyara Jatre or Elders Fest. In the local languages, there's Mudiyo Tiruvilla, and also that converts as the same in Hyderabad. So where we bring in senior citizens from different old age homes to one day full of fun activities. We do have we have heard about annual fest, we have heard about corporate fest, but this we wanted to make it as elders fest, where we celebrate elders. And this whole day, elders have competitions, they have the stages for them to perform. They can perform whatever they require, they wish to perform. They do have different competitions, from coloring, painting, pot, clay modeling, to pot painting, to all of that. We support them, we encourage, we also give them the prizes on that day. All of these come in. So the challenge which we have seen is all the NGOs coming together. There was one case last year where I encountered saying, there was a WhatsApp group which we formed, and there's one of the founders came in and said, that old age home is coming, I would not be I would not be coming. Like, I'll not bring my senior citizens. As we try to make them understand this is for senior citizens. But this is one where I see as a challenge inside me, bringing them all together. Similar way, in terms of, we are working on one of the events for this year, where how we can bring in multiple NGOs working in space of animal rescue, right? Giving them a platform of, we have so many adoption drives, but individual adoption drives which happens. As we're working with volunteers on engaging them in animal shelter, we were looking into how we can bring all them together in one platform and encourage people to understand about the challenges which is happening in animal shelter and how they can support. And I foresee the same challenge again, where how many of them would come together, because that is another challenge where they have internally multiple clashes around. So we have to work around it. I do not have the solution for it right now. But one thing, we make sure that we convince them that why are we doing this? At the end of the day, this is for the beneficiaries and making them happy at the end of the day. Yeah.
Thank you, Deekshitha. I'm sure many of us present here would agree that we do experience these challenges when bringing multiple stakeholders together. Nagaraj, I will request you to share your views a little different than the challenges, just on managing the expectation of these various stakeholders, because we did discuss about the challenges, and I think it will really help if we discuss about how do you manage the expectation of these various stakeholders. I know we do not have much time.
Okay. Thanks, Aneesha and the team. So basically, probably if there is a code that needs to be cracked. One is on, I'll just give a simple example. One of the corporate teachers said, hey, we have to do tree plantation closer to our office. There has to be a lake, so I have to create a lake then. Yeah, just imagine. Many a times we get those kind of requests. I mean, probably for their peer pressure, whatever you got it, I just don't know. They say, March 31st tak karna hai. We need lake plantation, lake ke baad. At least we are on 50 volunteers, and I don't want anybody to go out of the lake. Safety is a concern for us. The challenge is, safety is a concern. We have limited budget. We need it in the lake, and the lake has to be closer to my place. I'm sure. Yeah, sorry? So I think I've started working on lake regeneration, pond regeneration. Probably new lakes have to come up, just on a lighter note. But yeah, you do get that kind of request. So whatever reasons, I don't blame the corporate. Maybe somebody has not passed on their objectives clearly. But yeah, I personally feel one is inclusion. Second is empathy. Understand what exactly they want. Yes, I'll say, boss, you can definitely do a tree plantation. Probably you'll have to take that extra step to travel another 5 kilometers more. Fortunately, there are about 195 lakes in Bangalore. There were 1,065 to be precise, 1,065 plus somewhere about 10 years back. Now it's just 195 lakes, which are in decent condition. So one is the empathy, second is inclusion. We'll definitely do a lake cleanup activity and a plantation, just that you'll have to have a little bit of shared responsibilities and shared goals and empowering all of them. If it is just going to be within a park and not making any objective, making any long-term solution doesn't make sense. So inclusion, empathy is what I feel, and followed by a common thought process of shared responsibilities and shared goals. That's what I would feel. Probably I would end up with a line saying, many people at many places doing many things makes a lot of difference. Let's be many more people having in this platform. Thank you.
Perfectly. You wrapped up our session perfectly with those lines. Thank you so much. And yeah, I would not want to delay this any further, but we would want to open it up for Q&A. It was lovely interacting with all three of you. I'm sure many of us would have learned so much more. And there are some questions. Okay, you need to scan this QR code or go on the, is it still menti.com? Yeah, so menti.com, there is a code here, 35107711.
What is this all about? What is this code for?
For Q&A.
Oh.
This will help them with all the questions and the team will help us. Yeah, this is very tech savvy, but at the same time, I think most of the people are facing internet issues. So, we are experiencing it since tomorrow, so we know. Yeah, I think it will be nice if any questions. Yes, please.
So, Nagaraj, the work you're doing, I'm following your work such a long time now. Just wanted to check that out of curiosity, what is the percentage of people who continue the activity for a longer term in their particular areas, or probably with you whenever you do the drive?
It's about 25 to 30% on average, and we actually wanted to keep it a little low because we want more and more new bloggers to join, more and more individual leaders heading their own groups in their own names. It's average of 25 to 30%.
Great. Thank you.
So have you ever faced any cultural barrier while doing this kind of volunteering activities?
Yes.
Specific regions?
We did. So as I said, especially during the sustainable menstruation drives in the slums, something I mean, what is it? So, how? Thank you, Aneesha. Yeah. So, especially when we deal with slum dwellers and underprivileged families, we do find some difficulty in terms of ensuring that the activity gets over. Many a times, one is on the space that we have, our lack of space. Many of the slums, you don't have that ability to convey the message through a poster or a video and all that. Those things, they're not tech savvy. And there is no provision of technology over there. And as you said, religious discrimination sometimes is ये सभी बात लड़कियों के सामने नहीं करना है, especially on sustainable menstruation. आप क्यों कर रहे हो? You go and send one other lady who can speak about it. So gender bias is there, and some elderly people will say you are talking something else. This is against our religion. You are not supposed to talk like that. So these challenges are there. Initially, yes, we did face, but then over a period of time, we got used to it. I should tell you that, during one of the first blogs, I picked up, me and my daughter picked up 5-6 kg, 5 big bags of litter. And by the time we came, the park was almost getting close. I didn't know what to do with the trash. I'm just giving an example. So probably that made me think a little deeper, what is that I can engage with. So reaching out to the nearest dry waste collection center, keeping them pre-informed about the activity, all these things are very much needed. Of course, out of impulse, if you do in a park, bigger park or lake, not a problem. But whenever you're doing a bigger activity, always keep the authorities informed so that even if you face any such challenges, you can easily overcome it. But yeah, so I had to literally take an auto, go to the nearest dry waste collection center, drop all this stuff. So that was a learning for me.
Is there any drop-off if such kind of things happen the next time volunteers drop?
It has happened quite a few times. This on WhatsApp, I'll see 50 hands raising. Hey, we'll join. Uske baad India Pakistan ka match aata hai, koi nahi aata hai. It has happened. On lighter note, yes, it actually happened that sometimes it was also like I expect only 10 people, 40 people turn up. So suddenly I'm a shortage of gloves and bags. So I give them a different task. I'm sure it happens for other activities also. At times it does change.
Yeah. So my question is open to the panel. We spoke a lot in terms of having shared interest and things need to align. All the stakeholders look for different end outcomes as well, right? So just kind of curious in terms of what kind of systems can NGOs or corporates build internally to make this easier, because right now it seems like a lot of dialogue is required. It seems to just be on that end, and finding the right kind of alignment seems time consuming and resource inducing on all ends, right? So what kind of systems can NGOs and corporates build to kind of make it simpler?
So yes, absolutely rightly pointed out. It's like I said, it looks good on paper, but when you go to implement it, it's very difficult. So I'll once again take the leverage of using an example that we use. Under the law, I'll just go back to the law once. For two corporates to collaborate on any project, be it volunteering or any CSR project, there is a provision as long as they identify one common NGO partner who ticks all the boxes. I'm just using the corporate lingo here. And they have to mutually agree that, yes, we will work, we believe in their cause, and we will, we will work through them. So I think the first system that we ourselves have put into place is that we have created we share the partners we work with. We are trying to create a repository of credible partners who undertake excellent volunteering when it comes to corporate. So as a corporate, there are a lot of criteria. I'm sure you've been hearing it in the other panels. It needs to be engaging. It needs to, attract people. It needs to have some bit of tech in it. The impact needs to be shown at the end of the day. You can't just go and give a lecture and come back. That doesn't work anymore. So I think as corporates, the first thing that we are trying to do, especially within our parks, is create a repository of credible partners who do excellent work in this space, and it's a shared thing. So if tomorrow I want to go and ask a fellow corporate that, do you want to do something? Do you want to rejuvenate? Okay, rejuvenation is spoken about. So probably clean up the back gate to EGL. Do you want, that place looks messy, it's littered, it's coming right from the village into the tech park. Do you want to paint it together? So together we identify an NGO from that resource, and the resources are pulled in and it goes to the common NGO partner. So I think that is one. And secondly, we really don't have a process right now from the NGO point of view to, identify, get to corporates. Like you as an NGO may go to an A corporate and a B corporate and a C corporate and ask them, why don't you three come together and let's clean up this lake? Chances of that coming through is a little on the lower side. I'll be realistic here. Chances of a corporate pushing to work through this NGO, let's just do this. We have seen their work, it's amazing. So let's do this, is on a slightly higher side. So that's an area of work, according to me. I'll let Deekshitha.
I'll just add from NGO perspective, right? Many of the NGOs do not know that how they can engage volunteers into their enhancement of the work or with their beneficiaries. Somewhere NGOs have to come up and plan better. They can look into. They still restrict. The many times we call, we get to hear the same thing. Especially in Hyderabad and Chennai, when we were connecting to NGOs, the question was, does this happen? And one of the NGOs challenged us, saying that this cannot happen anywhere. If it happens, please come to me. I'll be very happy to engage you inside my NGO. So somewhere NGOs also have to come up with open mindset. They have to see what is happening around and see the opportunity how to engage these volunteers. That's when, I guess, extended version of open volunteering also leads up to volunteering engagement with corporates and other stakeholders. So the primary is open this to volunteers as stakeholders to come in and plan better internally to see the opportunities on how they can engage volunteering. There are so many platforms nowadays where they can post around volunteering opportunities. Utilize that, as technology platforms are there where you can post around volunteers and pull in volunteers. NGOs have to better, work around it. So that is my perspective.
Thank you so much for sharing your views. It was lovely panel, all three charismatic characters here with very different experience but similar to each other and contributing to the larger impact. So thank you so much.